You want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yo, welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live on Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide at KFMA.com. Happy Tuesday, August 23rd to you. Good morning, weirdo.
Good morning, Beef.
Good morning, everyone out there listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Listener bait galore. It's a very special day for me. And the podcast broadcast later on, we're going to have a recording artist, Upsahl, joining us via satellite to do some performances and to catch up. If you don't know about Upsahl, you can look her up. I know she doesn't necessarily fit Rock 102.1's format per se, because it's not Five Finger Death Punch or like hard rock. But as far as Arizona musicians and talent, she's in a league of her own.
Yeah.
Fantastic singer-songwriter, all different styles. And I've been playing her on the radio since she was 13 years old. 13 years old. That's no joke. She's fantastic. In fact, actually, I'll give you an example. This was one of those magical moments in my career, right? And I'm sure I'll recap the story in the podcast broadcast, but what the F? Ugh, my stupid. There we go.
Are you fighting with the soundboard again?
It's not the soundboard, it's the program, but that's all right. You'll figure it out. But okay, so
whoopsie.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's my frustration on this. So back to what I was saying. Okay, I'm gonna give you a story here, weirdo, because I've been doing radio here for over a decade. And I've always kind of shined light to local unsigned artists. It was part of my thing, and the reason why I started playing local music so prominently was because of SB 1070. It was SB 1070 back in the day. It was a very racist kind of law program initiated by Sheriff Joe Arpaio, and that kind of, it was voted on by blue hairs. It was just bad. It was so bad that national artists across the country were boycotting the state of Arizona, which I took offense to, because I knew it wasn't the state of Arizona that really wanted this initiative to go through. And eventually we voted against it. But, I always was of the argument saying, okay, if you're opposed to something, instead of being from the outside pointing in, why don't you go behind enemy lines and speak your mind and rally the people behind you and say, hey, this is wrong, and this is why, what you should do about it. But instead, we had a bunch of like grandstanders and bandwagon artists saying, oh, I'm boycotting Arizona. Yep. So in my knee-jerk reaction to that, I was like, well, then F you, I'm boycotting you. Rise Against, I'm boycotting you. Rage Against the Machine, who currently, or who at the time were separated, they were done. And they were saying they were boycotting Arizona. And like, no, you boycotted the world. Don't just blame Arizona. So anyways, that started my Rock Local initiative back in the day. And so,
which is awesome. I respect it.
Right.
I'm here for it.
Okay. So let me get to the point. So with that, I started to, get to know a bunch of different bands. And one of these bands came across my desk called High Horse, and they were good. And I played them on the radio a few times and yada, yada. And fast forward like 6 months after I discover High Horse, I get an email, and it's from this guy, Mike, in High Horse. And he's like, hey, dude, my 13-year-old daughter just wrote and recorded a song, and it's amazing. And I just want to give it to you for you to check out. Let me know what you think. And if it's good enough, you could play it on the air. And immediately my eyes are rolling, right? Because I'm a father of a daughter, and I'm like, yeah, okay, we get it. Like everyone loves their daughter. Their daughters are amazing, and it's going to be fantastic. I get it, right? Yeah. So I'm figuring that he's listening through dad ears.
Right.
And not unbiased ears, being a musician and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, well, I respect Mike. I like him. So let me check this song out. And I did. And it blew me away, right? It blew me away.
Yeah.
So she, again, 13 years old, she wrote and recorded this song. And she's from Arizona. She's from Glendale, Arizona. So she actually ended up living just like a mile and a half away from my house. Nice. So got West Side ties, and I dig that. But this is what I did, weirdo. I decided to play it on the radio for my audience, but not give them an idea of anything about the artist. I said, okay, I got a new song I'm going to play for you. And if you like it or hate it, give me a call and let me know. So I played the song, and after I played the song, my phone blew up like a different look. And people called in. And then after like 10 callers, I'm like, okay, you ready for this? She's 13 years old. She lives in Glendale. She wrote and recorded it herself. This is the song that I played. It's called The Yes No's. Now, keep in mind, this is Taylorupsahl at 13 years old.
13.
Yes. Check this out. Now, you're not going to hear that because I did not share the YouTube link on my live stream, but I don't need to because on the stream for the very first time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Upsahl. Good morning, Upsahl.
What's up, Beef? How's it going?
Good. It's
Morning.
good to see you. And I have a lot of fun in store for us here this next hour of conversation. And I know that you're probably posted up in Los Angeles. Is this your place that you're living at?
Yes, I'm in LA right now. I'm here for the summer before I
Yeah.
leave for tour again in the fall. Yeah,
I
thank
know.
you for having me. This feels so fun. It's just like old times. I'm so stoked.
I know. Well, and speaking of old times, I have some old videos that I'm going to share, just to kind of recap. We're going to stroll down memory lane. So she's playing the piano. She recorded it. She wrote everything, right? Hold on. You hear that? That's the video.
Again.
All right. So, yeah, we're going to stroll down memory lane. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff because there's so many things that I've wanted to talk with you on the record. And I think out of everybody who's interviewed you, now that you've kind of been blowing up over the past few years, you got signed to Arista Records when you were how old? 19? Was it around there at that time? 19, 20?
Yeah, when I was like 19, I think. Yeah, right when I moved here. Yeah.
Right. And then from there, you've been on different radio circuits. You're always getting interviews when you announce different
Hold on.
tours. What?
Hold on one sec.
Okay. She's going to reboot. But what I was going to say is that out of everyone who's interviewed her, I'm the OG.
Yeah.
The best of the best. But no, I've interviewed her the most is
Right.
what I was going to say. Let's see. Hold up. The connection broke for a second. Rejoining. Cool. All right.
Oh, technology.
Yes, and I got a little surprise for her too. I'm gonna have her dad pop in on the stream. Don't say anything, because I got to set up. It's gonna be fun. But yes, we're gonna talk about a lot of things. In fact, actually, let me just do this real quick. As we stroll down memory lane. Yes, Upsahl has been performing on my show since she was 13 years old, and one of the performances she did, it kind of led to her finding her manager, or should I say, her manager finding her. See, one of the artists I played on my show all the time was Max Frost, and Taylor would listen to the show each and every morning on her way to school, and she ended up covering this Max Frost song. This song's called White Lies. And she did such a fantastic job that when Max Frost came into studio, it took me years to her internet popped out again. It took me years to get him in studio. As soon as I got him in studio, I had Taylor come into the studio and perform that song for him. Now, fast forward a little bit later, Max Frost, who was signed to Atlantic Records, his manager saw the video of her performing White Lies, and that led to him signing her. And I believe that it's still her manager today, but I could be wrong. As Taylor gets set up with her internet, I am going to replay this classic from TMI Radio Show. It's an in-studio performance from Upsahl. This is White Lies.
Ladies and gentlemen, Taylorupsahl.
Take it away, Taylor.
I'm picking up early sketch vibes. My woman's been telling me lies about other men, about where she's been hanging. Suspicious thoughts in my mind keep brewing up over time. He's just a friend, when to me he's a stranger. And I can't hold no evidence, but I can't think emotionless. And something in your choice of dress can only lead to just one guess. White lies you try can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I've never said. White lies you try, can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I've never said. It's been keeping me up every night, most of the time. I toss and turn in bed and I try not to explode when you arrive, sneaking through the door like it ain't 5 and this house ain't mine. And I keep picking up really sketch vibes, and I keep looking over at your side, wondering where you've been, thinking that he ain't a friend, and all these thoughts are sinking. So I say it again, white lies you try, can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I'm never saying. White lies you try, can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I'm never saying.
That was Taylor, right? And Taylor's back on the stream. Does that bring back memories there, Tay?
What a trip. Okay, first of all, sorry my Wi-Fi I think was just sucking for a sec, but whoa, that video, what's crazy and what, I don't know if you were explaining this while I was figuring out my Wi-Fi, but that like I was a massive Max Frost fan because of you. And I heard his song on the radio, covered it because I heard it on KWSS, and then you introduced me to Max that day. It was that day on the show, right?
No, that was actually you met him like a month later, but we recorded that ahead of time, and then I had you come in and perform that song for him. So it was it's a trip for an artist to have another artist do a cover of their song, but in an original way to them. And I remember Max telling me, like, I was afraid that this was gonna suck and be super awkward, and she was amazing. Like, thank God. Right?
No, it's just crazy because then through that and you and meeting Max, like that time at my manager, Max and I were roommates in the house that I'm still in now for like my first 3 years of living in LA. Like you really opened up that whole world for me just from like that day. Yeah, it's crazy.
And just introducing talented people to one another. Shout out to Megaran, by the way, who I see on the YouTube stream as well. Megaran doing big things. So yes, that's what I was kind of explaining, and it was fantastic. But what was great about that cover is if you look up Max Frost's White Lies, which is a fantastic song, it's done in a completely different way, you know, and that was something that stood out to Max, obviously. And yes, like so Elizabeth saying, I love the sultry voice. I will play you the Yes No's, the song that I played in the show open, because I have that on YouTube. Right?
Sick.
Yeah, as far as the 13-year-old Taylor, but let's get on the air real quick. And we're gonna pump up the podcast broadcast. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. On the stream on our podcast broadcast, a very special guest to me, close to my heart. She's like family. Her name's Upsahl. She's a recording artist signed to Arista Records who has over 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. You may know her from her song Drugs, and she has a ton of other songs. And I would like to think that I influenced her in writing Drugs. I don't know.
Yes, you were the main influence, Pete, for sure.
Yeah. Now, Upsahl, I have so much catching up to do. I have so many different questions, and I know that you've been living out in LA. So the first thing we're going to do after Papa Roach is spill the tea on what it's like to transition from Arizona to being in the heart of the entertainment industry, being in the industry, and then also kind of like experiencing a whole new world of parties and LA parties and like the type of creeps that you run into. I want to hear all that stuff. So we're going to talk about that with Upsahl. We're keeping the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. You can join us on youtube.com/beefvegan or any of our social media pages, or keep it right here because we'll be back right after Papa Roach. Clear. All right. So that was the FM side, right?
Sick.
Yeah. So we go podcast broadcast. So whenever I say Rock 102.1, that means no fucking cursing, right?
Okay, I'm just not gonna curse because I feel like I'm gonna. Did I cuss already or no?
Yeah, you did, but that's okay.
We mess it up all the time.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
You know what's funny?
Before keep it clean.
I got this. So I was getting ready for you, and I was rolling down memory lane over the past couple of days, and pulled up Maddie's documentary play. Our friend Maddie Steinkamp put together a music documentary on, and he featured Taylor in it. And when he featured Taylor at the time, he interviewed me to talk about Taylor. And at the time, I was telling Maddie and the people watching the film all the different reasons why I was so proud to be pushing her at the time, because she was very age appropriate, right? And age appropriate is the key, because there's a little there's a comment on the podcast being like, oh, that didn't age well. But I would still consider you very age appropriate. And I'll explain that after I play this clip. So let me share this real quick, because this is funny. Because once we get into the catalog, as far as hit songs like Drugs,
Yeah.
and you got there's a lot of female empowerment that we're gonna get to here. But here's a little bit from Play. Check this out.
So when she was 14, she released an album. We got behind it, pushed that. She had a nice little run. She's one of my daughters and all my daughter's friends' favorite artists, and started, becoming listeners' favorite artists, and more importantly for listeners' kids. Because the way I was presenting it was, hey, you have all these kind of false idols that getting songs written for them. They're also like dressing provocative and sending the wrong message in their songs. You have this real genuine talent in this, beautiful homegrown artist in Taylor. So if you're going to bring your kids out, I'm bringing my daughter out to see her, because I trust that Taylor is going to be the right influence. And if I need my daughter to look up to any artist, it's going to be that girl right there.
And a big thanks to my dad over here right there, because without him, like, none of this would have happened at all.
Oh my gosh, that's so
See, super sweet.
Oh,
Yes.
my heart.
Yeah, so that was cool, and I still stand by it. I still am proud to reintroduce you. I didn't need to reintroduce you to my daughter, but I'm still proud that my daughter's a fan of yours. And age appropriation and age appropriate is the key, because as you're now like 22, 23, what are you?
23, almost 24. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
We're getting old, man.
Oh my God.
Getting so
You've
old.
done more with your life in the last 10 years than I have in all of my 36. Good for you.
Yes.
Thank you. No.
She got shot out of a cannon, and we're going to talk about the backstory of Upsahl's musical upbringing and her influences here in a little bit, but let's get back on the air. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We're hanging out here with Upsahl on the podcast broadcast. And Upsahl, 23 years old. She got signed to Arista Records when she was 19. And when she got signed, she went straight out of high school, gets signed from a major label, and then transplants to Los Angeles. And now Los Angeles, being in the music industry, is pretty hedonistic, I hear. I don't know. So you get involved in like party atmospheres and stuff. So I'm sure you've been to a Hollywood party or two, right?
I guess so. Yeah. I think when I first moved here, I was 19, and I was like, I don't really know anyone, so I need to like go out there, get myself out of my comfort zone, meet some people. And so I kind of tried that whole scene, and obviously wrote songs like Drugs and songs like People I Don't Like about hating it. And then all of my friends from like high school from Phoenix all moved to LA at the same time. So now I feel like I'm just like, it's like LA is this new home with like all my Phoenix people. So it was the perfect timing. Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this, and I'm worried about the answer, but I need to know anyways. Who's the oldest creeper who hit on you at a Hollywood party? Because I know, you got creeps out there galore, right? All producers with runny noses. You picking up what I'm putting down.
Oh, I'm picking it up. Yes.
Yes. So who's the oldest creep that hit on you at a Hollywood party?
I feel like I'm so unfazed by it to where I don't really notice it. I feel like as a woman that just happens so often anyways, especially like growing up, like I was doing shows all the time, and there would be some people there sometimes that were like odd. So I don't really realize it, but like I'm sure every weekend when we go out, there's some weird stuff that goes down. But like I feel like me and everyone I'm with are all very unfazed by it,
Yeah, that's good. All right, well, that's a great answer too, and that's good too, because it seems like you have like a force field of protection around you too. To keep them out.
Yeah.
That's good. I keep those dad answers. Speaking of dad answers, let me just pull up one more thing. I got drugs playing in the background. This is the instrumental. So if this sounds familiar to you guys on the FM side, it's because that song has 107 million spins on Spotify.
Nice.
Do you have placements on this song too?
It's a hard one to place because of the nature of what it's about. Yeah, I think we have a couple like fun little syncs, but it's mostly just like honestly like TikTok kind of like let it have its moment during COVID. The song just kind of like blew up on the app, and then luckily I feel like that's what I do love about TikTok is that like it kind of translated to streams as well and like getting new fans, which was cool. Like it was a cool moment. Yeah.
Well, it's a super catchy song.
Yeah, it is.
Let me show this real quick. Okay, so this is Upsahl. She talked about TikTok. So we talk about social media being so imperative for an artist today to make an impact, to have reach. So here is a post from Upsahl where it says, "Summer 2022 is literally just new music, food, tour dates, and nudes." Right? And so I'm looking through. I'm like, no, don't tell me. Up.
Nude.
Right.
Nude. But I censored it.
Yeah, you censored it. Now, here to look disappointed on the podcast broadcast stream is Taylor's dad, Mike.
No, you did not.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Zay. How's it going?
Absolutely not. It's going good, Dad. How are you?
All right, so we're going to talk about drugs because Mike and I had a moment where we both were realizing that A, we're old, B, we're dads, and then C, we overcame that to be super proud of Upsahl's hit single, Drugs. We'll talk about that on the podcast broadcast and more. Coming up next, the Beefy Presents. Don't go away.
Oh my God, this is too iconic.
You're like,
oh my God, she's rolling
that
eyes
was the best
so
thing
hard.
of my life. Oh my God, yay. Hi.
I had to Jimmy Kimmel you a little bit.
Oh
And
my God,
Mike,
so good.
thank you for being down for that joke. You know, because I think we both had the same reaction. Yeah.
No, I was telling Beef the other day though. I was like, when we were on the phone and you brought it up too, you were like talking about it. And I was like, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, you've gotten over it at this point because it's happened so much, no?
I'll never get over it.
Right. No.
I just never like those posts.
Yeah, you're like, this one's not for me. Yeah.
And whatever. Yeah.
Right.
And I scroll on. It's fine.
You know, and I've been dreading the moment for a while, Tay, to be honest with you, because it's a weird position for me as well. Growing up as like, you know, just a perv dude that's kind of on brand. You know, I've never like, this is the first time I've, you know, had like kids I've seen grow up. Right. Yeah. And then put them in a different category. You're like, I recognize you're a beautiful woman and I'm proud of like, you know, like who you become, but you'll never be that kind of like woman to me as much as I like seeing boobs. I love seeing boobs.
Not this.
It's so weird though. It's so weird. It's just like, but I get it. You're a pop star. It's social media. Right. You know, I posted a thirst trap not 2 years ago. You know, so like I understand.
And I'm like, good for you. It's your body. You can do what you want. Like body autonomy. Let's do this. But then Uncle Beef over here is having a bloody heart attack.
I know. And let's get into the story about drugs because this is one of the moments. And, you know, earlier I played that clip from Play where I talked about, you know, how Taylor's at the time, she was 15 years old. Super age appropriate. What a fantastic role model to have as opposed to false idols, pop stars who are just hot and have songs written for them. And then they're singing about sex and bullshit. Now a 15-year-old, you don't want to hear them to do that. 23-year-old, absolutely. That's what you want to hear.
Right.
So that song Drugs came out and this is my reaction. I listened to it immediately. I'm like, this is fire. Fuck. And then I hesitate. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't let Veal hear it. I hesitated. Like wanting to play it for my daughter. Then I called up Mike. Mike, tell me the story about drugs. Remember this conversation that we had?
Yeah, no, I do. Actually, I think I still probably have a text message feed between you and I when Taylor released it. So when Taylor played that song for me, which she usually does, like a lot of the time she'll send me songs and she'll be like, what do you think about this? I'm sure, Tay, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably were hesitant sending your mom and I that song initially. But you did. We listened to it, and of course, our first reaction is like your grandma and Papa.
He's gonna lose it.
Murder.
Yeah.
Gonna murder.
Right. Yeah. He's like, you went straight gangster on this one. Yes.
Yeah. You can't release this. Grandma will have a freaking heart attack. Literally, that was my first. She will lose her mind. And Taylor was like, you know, it's not even really about drugs. Yeah, it's the shock factor. You know, saying the word drugs, chanting the word drugs. But it's really just about fake ass people that I've met in Hollywood, and really that's all they're there for. Something to that essence. And I was like, you know what, whatever. This song is a freaking banger. So go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Legends.
Yeah. And so when he told me this, you know, I reassured him, like, look, as cool as we are, and your dad is cool as shit, you know, musician. I mean, look at him. He's a rock star. And as cool as I believe I am, right? We like to party. We like to have a good time. We're super open-minded. You know, it's not like drugs is something that we're just like, oh, no, thank you.
Right.
You know, yeah. As cool as we are still dads. And the fact that it made our butthole clench and we were nervous about it means it's dangerous. And the fact that it's dangerous means it's fucking cool.
Right.
And if we were 23, that's exactly the type of shit that we're rocking, you know, and we're fucking with. And I'm like, and so I'm so proud of you in this moment. And like I said, I was reassuring with Mike, is that you were making the right call for your career in releasing the song as is and not changing the lyrics and making it dangerous and keeping it gangster, as I like to refer to many times. And that was it. It was like, yeah, it made me hesitate. And the fact that it made me hesitate made me so proud, because if you were going extra safe and trying to make pop music on the level where you're trying to compete with today's artists, you're not going to do it by, you know, being like Disney.
Yeah,
right?
like I'm sitting here thinking about like how I would react if it was my daughter, because I have daughters, and I'm just like, I would have been like, oh, it's gonna make your grandma and papa a little nervous and upset. Do it. Like, better go for it.
Now,
because again, if it makes them nervous, they'll
like the biggest supporters too. So
right.
Yeah. So then what do they end up? Do they sing along the song now when they go out? Yeah.
They're just bumping in the car.
Drugs.
They're like, they're at shows. My grandma's in the back. She's like, came in for the drugs. That's right.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you popping up on the podcast broadcast, doing a surprise and sharing that story. I'm going to put you backstage now, but we might pop you back in if you're still hanging out. Okay.
You're a legend, Dad.
Yes, he is a legend.
That's awesome. Your dad looks so cool.
Oh, he's the best. He's like the coolest person ever. He's great.
So the rundown, let's get into all this. First off, so I read the news article like the other week. Beyonce released a new album, right? And in it, she refers to Monica Lewinsky, right? And Monica Lewinsky basically sent her like a cease and desist and was like, don't be using my name in songs. And I was surprised because you released the song called Monica Lewinsky, and didn't you get retweeted by Monica Lewinsky?
I don't know if I tweeted her and I was like, hey girl, wrote a song about you and how much I love you. I think you're so inspiring. And she responded, she was like, oh, thanks so much. So when I saw the Beyonce thing, I haven't listened to the Beyonce album, so I don't know like in what context she used it in. But I was like, oh, sick. I'm off the hook with Monica. I'll take it.
Yeah, you're not going to get sued by Monica.
Great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, to get endorsed on that, and Monica Lewinsky again is kind of like this empowering anthem, and that's what I've noticed with LADYJESUS, which was your latest album that you released. Essentially, the running theme is empowerment. At what point do you start feeling that kind of sense of not only self-confidence, but truly being like, I'm gonna seize the world and lead my own destiny kind of way? That's kind of the takeaway I get from that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like I obviously grew up being like so supported by my parents. They were just like, yeah, like we think like they were super like down for me to be creative and make music. And I had you, and like the Phoenix music scene was always lifting me up. So like that I think helped me so much to then like come to LA as like a young kid and be like, oh, okay, so like everybody in LA is like that in their hometown, and now we're all here trying to make it. And then it like knocked me down, and I was like, all right, cool, like how do I find out who I am now as like almost an adult, I guess. And like went through a breakup, and that rocked my world in the worst way. And then I was just kind of forced to like find myself and like fall in love with myself. And it was like a cute little year of self-care, and like I just wrote through the whole process. And I think we're all always going to be like constantly working on ourselves. So I still am, but like, yeah, I think it's like a constant process that's happening all the time.
You know, you're one of the singer-songwriters, one of the very few that I've met over my years that doesn't necessarily need an emotional muse to write. Because I've seen you and I've challenged you before as a young child, like when you wrote your song Sunflower. It was a song where I'm like, hey, I want you to come in, because I always book last minute. And so like I texted her the day before, like, hey, I want you to come in on the show and perform a song, but I want it to be a new song. And I told her that the day before. So she wrote a new song that night, came in, performed it, killed it. It ended up being a single off her album, and it was such a catchy song, and people just loved the shit out of it. But did you find added inspiration going through a breakup and going through those kind of cliches? Like, so they say, like, it is that was always my muse. Going for the sadness would fuel the fire, so to speak. Yeah. So did you feel extra motivated, or are you still continuously able to write?
Yeah, I mean, I think just because of what my life is when I'm in LA, like I'm in sessions pretty much every day, whether it's like for me or for like other artists. So I'm always trying to just like always keep my eyes open for any sort of inspiration or like an idea for a song. But like when I wrote Lady Jesus, it was honestly like, because I didn't go to therapy at the time, which is so I should have been in therapy, but like, thank God for songwriting, because I got to like, go into the studio every day and you'd like work through my feelings. So like, it wasn't even like, oh, like I'm going to pull from this to write a song. It was like, I felt like that was the only way I could like process whatever I was going through, was just by like putting it into songs and then worrying about putting the songs out later, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, what a great way to process something that is so relatable, because everyone goes through a breakup, gets their heart broken, which I felt like I thought it was the other way around. Like you broke this dude's heart, but he messed around and found out. Is that what happened?
I think we broke each other's hearts. I think when you're young, it's just like stuff gets messy. And then, yeah, there were so many added layers that made it hurt so bad when it ended. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. And like, I got an album out of it.
Did you give him a writer's credit, or did you dedicate the album to him? Is he coming back for residuals?
No, what was sweet is he texted me when it came out and was like, your album's dope. And I was like, okay,
good. Don't listen to track 4.
Don't listen to any of the songs. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was sweet. It's all good.
I'm impressed. You have some wisdom for your young age.
She does. She's an old soul. I mean, don't you have small dick references in that album? I would,
yeah, I do. There were some days where I was angry and had to write angry songs. There were days I was sad, had to write sad songs. There were all of the emotions. I think that's what was fun about the album, was that like, however I was feeling on said day, I would write a song about it. And so the album is very like up and down and like takes you through the roller coaster that was my breakup, for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional ride for sure. And, you know, but with a lot of like up tempo bangers. So you work with a lot of different producers around here as well. Coming up here in about a minute on the air, I want to talk about collaborations and, you know, talk about Dua Lipa. One of the things is she co-wrote a song on Dua Lipa's last album, which won Grammy for, was it album of the year? Right.
I think it was like, sure. I think it was like pop vocal album or something, but yes, it was
something like that. Subcategory. Right. The album that she wrote a song for won a Grammy. And then I asked her, I'm like, so do you get a Grammy? Because you were on that. And that's not how it works. Found that out the hard way. Also, I noticed that you posted that you paid tickets to see Dua Lipa live in concert. You can't even get free tickets. What the fuck?
I know. What's up with that? No, I didn't realize she was playing until like literally 2 hours before. And her team that would have helped me get tickets is in the UK, and it was the middle of the night in the UK. So I was like, I'm just going to buy the tickets myself.
All right.
I'm still going.
Is your lack of responsibility. Okay, so I'm gonna blame Dua Lipa.
Yeah,
right. Because I'm just like, hey, you contribute to a Grammy-winning album. The least you can do is get better seats. I mean, you were in the nosebleeds too.
You know, like in the back. Yeah, it was great.
She's like, thanks, girl. I see you way up there. Actually, I don't really. So that's fine. Thanks for buying those tickets.
Exactly.
Rockmo 2.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We're on the podcast broadcast with Arista Records recording artist Upsahl, who again has 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. You might know her from her song Drugs. We talked about how she just co-wrote a song on Dua Lipa's latest album, which won a Grammy. You've actually performed with a lot of people. You collaborated with a lot, including Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, Big Boy from Outkast, 2 Feet, Abso Facto, Dreamers, Black Bear. Who am I missing from this list of people that you've collaborated with just in the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's been really fun. I think I have a collab coming out with a DJ named Nightmare this weekend. And I was realizing like I've been so lucky to get to work with so many different artists of different genres on all of my collabs. It like helps me get out of my comfort zone for sure.
Yeah, break down how this collaboration with Mike Shinoda came about. And then, so how did it come about? How did you get on his radar?
I had been working a lot with Pete Nappy, who's a producer who is doing a lot of my new EP that's coming out. And I've been working a lot with him over COVID, basically. And then we were just working on Zoom like every day, just trying to stay busy. And I guess him and Mike had started doing some stuff on Zoom with this girl, Samantha Ronson. And so one day we were like, all right, let's all get in. We're just going to like hop on Zoom and write a song. And meanwhile, I'm like, okay, Mike Shinoda, like I'm a fan. Like this guy's a living legend.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like no pressure. So I was like literally sitting here like in my pajamas on Zoom with Mike. And we were just talking about the state of the world and ended up writing Happy Endings. I cut the like scratch vocal because there was no other option because of just the nature of the session. And he was looking for another artist for it and then never found one. So I lucked out and got to stay on it.
Oh, nice. So this essentially was basically you were just gonna get another writer's credit where you were just writing on it, and then they're like, you know what? Actually, you're the best person for this, and we're just gonna keep it the way it is. Yeah, it makes it super simple. Yeah. And all right. Well, I have a lot of conversation to have with you. I'll ask you this. Okay, so you've written for a lot of different artists. So you put yourself in a different mindset when you're writing for someone else, and how do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it's nice because when I'm writing for myself, I get like my ego gets in the way and I like overthink everything a lot. And then when I get to go in for other artists, like their job is to let their ego get in the way. And my job is to just like focus on writing a good song. So it's definitely a nice like break from my own like artisty head. And it's been fun, especially this summer. I feel like half of my sessions have been for me. Half of them have been for other artists. So it's been like a really nice balance for sure.
Nice. And have you ever written for like a lyric or a song for somebody else where you're like, damn it, I actually want to keep this for myself?
Totally. I wrote a song for Madison Beer that has a cuss word in it. Are we on air? Can I not say
we
it?
are on air. So essentially a
it?
curse word. Yeah.
And yeah, she released it and I was like, wait, I really like that song. I should have put it out. But she killed it. It sounded great.
You can always cover it. It's weird because you're covering her doing your song.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Blowing
she
my
does
mind.
it well, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. All right. We have more with Upsahl coming. We're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We're going to play a clip where she builds up a song all by herself so you could hear one of her latest singles. Plus, we're going to play some throwback videos, maybe even get a live in studio performance. Yeah, are you prepared for that?
I think so. Yeah,
going old school. I love it so much. You can join us on youtube.com/bevegan or keep it right here. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Clear. All right. So, you know what I'll do? So many different things because I do have different clips. All right. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going through my checklist here.
I'm so impressed with the multitasking, running like two different. Like,
my
this
gosh.
is crazy.
A lot of people do say that when they come in. My buddy Powers, who is one of the co-hosts here on the show, his metaphor, he attributes it to like running a Zeppelin, right? So yes, I am doing a radio show on the air, but also doing a podcast off the air and go like seamlessly going back and forth. And it's the podcast broadcast is what I call it.
It's amazing. It's
and that's
because
Taylor, I'll tell you, and I'll say Upsahl. I got to get in that habit, but
no. You can call him Taylor.
Well, I call you Tay Tay. The reason why, we do this is I do this is because obviously radio is an older medium and trying to get younger people excited about radio again. They don't necessarily listen to the radio, but they listen to podcasts. And I'm like, hey, fuckers, this is a podcast that's on the radio. And years ago, when I started this job down here in Tucson, I would get people calling up that are listeners in their early 20s or late teens saying, hey, I love your podcast. And I wasn't doing a podcast. They were talking about the morning show. So it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. Except, you have to be a little more talented and creative to pull off the broadcast part than any dickhead could have a podcast.
Yeah. And it's really cool too. Cause like we do, when people come over to the podcast part of it, like they do get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff and us transitioning and then, bringing in live bands and things like that. So it's always like really cool. Yeah. He's always going balls to the wall.
Yes. Yeah. So we have our streamers here. And so Anthony is one of the streamers. He bought my flag Him,
Oh,
Nick,
sick.
and Manny.
Yeah.
So our listeners bought this flag that I have,
Oh,
and I actually got
that's
that on the day that I found out that I got my show renewed for 2 years. So it's good stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
good
Okay.
shit. Let's go.
You want to cry? You want to cry? Because I'll give you a moment to cry for. So let's go old school here. When I got the job down in Tucson, like 6 years ago, I did one last Tequila Sunrise. Tequila Sunrise is a party I wanted to do here eventually, but it was legendary up in Phoenix for the time that we had that run. It was each and every year on my birthday, I would do a live broadcast from a bar in our area. And then we would set up, we'd do a show, we'd get wasted on the air and have a bunch of live performances. Considering that I got the job at KFMA around August, I had to do my last show on the air and I wanted to go out with a bang. So we did one last Tequila Sunrise, even though it wasn't my birthday. And of course, you know, a mainstay of the show that really helped our show grow, my show grow, was, you know, having talent like Taylor on the show. And she was such a prominent fixture. She was basically like a member of the show. She would frequently show up to perform. She was on many of our live concert events. And so whenever I would call up, and they lived so close, that was the irony. Whenever I would call up and say, hey, Taylor, before you go to school tomorrow, can you come in and perform a song live on the radio? She was always game. It was amazing. Right. And
so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And kudos and shout out to your dad, your sister, the whole family, really being supportive of that as well. So she came out to do one last performance at Tequila Sunrise. And before she went into it, she had some heartfelt words. And I actually was watching this the other day.
It's gonna make me cry. Oh no.
Let's get ready to cry. Here's a throwback from Tequila Sunrise. Check this out. You got something upbeat for me too?
Yeah. Really quick, I just wanted to say, Beef, like, I blame you for getting my whole, I'm gonna start crying, for like getting my whole music career like started in Phoenix.
Right.
It's like my first song I ever recorded, like I got to hear on the radio, and it's all because of you. And so it's just like, sorry.
I love you, Dad. You get me like that.
Okay.
Don't you start doing this to me, Taylor!
No, but we're not only gonna miss you as like a radio personality, but it's like we're losing like a family friend.
I did not die. I did not die. I'm gonna be up here like all the time, like every weekend.
No, I was talking to
Tucson.
Doug. We were like, this sounds like it's like a funeral. Like he's in a better place, but like we miss him.
Nobody ever said Tucson was a better place.
But no, I'm really gonna miss you, and like I'm super thankful for everything you've done for me and the music community in Phoenix. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a happy song.
Yeah, suck up, be a pro, Taylor. You gotta sound like $1 million right now.
All right, this is called Golden Rims.
Yes.
Making our way to 7,000, providing 4 hours left. 7,000, sunset on the back. Chasing cars like there are dreams. Off the ice and cross the seas. Making our way to 7,000, the sunset on the left. But we keep streaming static hum. Da-da-da-da, the silent space. We never sing the cats in the street are old news. Sunglass rims are like lost time, they're golden. And there's the possibility of ruining the ruins that we built around our need for reality. Distant from the 7th sea. Open blinds to settle down, an open mind to think out loud. Making our way to the right downtown with the sunset on the left. Oh, we keep screaming static hum. Da-da-da-da, the silent space. possibility of ruining the ruins that we built around the need for reality. Oh, oh, oh. Golden bridge and golden hearts, keeping up against the dark. Yellow signs and white lines, keeping up to survive the time. Lose the wind and lean again, shower down, wishing troubles bright. Clean up the scene, the cracks in the street are old you. Sunrise trimmed like glass, and they're golden, golden. And there's the possibility of ruining the ruins that we built around the need for reality. Oh, clean up the scene, the cracks in the street are old. Sunrise trimmed like glass, and they're golden, golden. And there's the possibility of ruining the ruins that we built around our need for reality. Distant from the 7th sea. Distant from the 7th sea.
I wish I had a fade out on the video. Yeah. For the sake of time, I did. Isn't that cute? Do you miss your bangs?
Yes, I do. Okay, that is so cute. Not me literally acting like you were like I was never gonna see you again. Like I was so emotional.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm just going to Tucson.
You scared the shit out of me. You made me wish I had a doctor like right then and there. I'm like, I need to get my blood pressure taken immediately. Taylor thinks I'm gonna die.
So dramatic. But no, you did. Like everything's still true that Lil Tay said. Like you really did like get it all started for me. That's so cute.
Do you often refer to yourself as Little Tay?
Little Tay. I guess so. He's the younger Tay, Lil Tay, you know. Yeah.
Well, we watched you grow up, and a lot of obviously KWSS listeners watch you grow up, and everyone has the same sentiment. Everyone's extremely proud of everything that you've been able to accomplish, and congrats on announcing your European tour and then having to upgrade a couple venues, huh?
I guess so. We'll see what happens over there. I don't know. It's my first time headlining, so fingers
That's
crossed.
a big deal. That's such a big deal. All right, let me ask you this. I need you to rack your brain on this real quick, because you've been, who knows how many songs you've written? Do you even have a guesstimation, right? What is your favorite lyric? If you could come to like mine, because you've been a poet for now over a decade, most of your life. What is your favorite lyric that sticks out in your mind that you're just kind of like, I just really like that one?
That's such a hard question. I don't know.
I know.
Like trying to choose a favorite child.
Well, the thing is, we all have favorite children and stuff, and it's fine. Now, luckily, I only have one kid. You know, Mike's saying no, but he knows. You know, that's fine.
I
Hey,
have
Mom,
no idea. I don't know. I have a new lyric on a song that I'm about to put out called Antsy, and the lyric is "Love might be lit, but I'm scared of what it might demand of me." And I think it's so funny because it's such a dramatic sentence, but I say the word lit in it. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, you're so hip and current and everything. And that will lead into our on-air conversation really good too, because I want to talk about TikTok and the importance of TikTok in your career. And as far as young artists, because I have a lot of aspiring artists still listening here in the Tucson area. I'm tapping back into my Rock Local initiative and trying to help these guys out. But the game changes constantly. And you being in the industry, you know that with the industry, really still like all the shit that you do before you get signed is still relevant and even more important today than it was years ago. So it's really about you continuing to be your own marketing agent and content producer. So we got about 13 seconds before we get on the air. We'll talk about that. And then I'm going to play a quick video while you set up for like a little sound check to get ready to do a live performance for us. Awesome. I'm so stoked about it.
This is so fun.
Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. That was POD with Youth of a Nation. I have actually the Youth of a Nation on our podcast broadcast in Upsahl. Still very young and appreciate that, even though the time is flying by. And I want to talk to her about the importance of TikTok and when it comes to the music industry. We know several artists who literally had their career saved or made because of social media. One artist who I'm friends with is called Mother. They blew up they blew up when they blew up on TikTok. So they were big in Canada. They were big on my former station because we loved them so much, and they were good in Phoenix, but nowhere else in the country or the world. And then TikTok got a hold of them, and now they're being able to sell out theaters all over the world. Actually, for you, TikTok is imperative, right?
Yeah, first of all, it was so cool being a fan of Mother because of you. Like, it was so cool watching it then pop up on my TikTok like all the time. I was like, wait, yes, I love this song. Finally.
That was a hipster moment, right?
Yeah,
You're like, oh, I knew them way back.
Cool, let's go. Yeah, yeah, it was TikTok helped me so much, and it was with my song Drugs, and I think it was interesting for me too because the song had been out. Same with like Mother. The song had been out for me. It had been out for like a little over a year, a little under 2 years, and like I always believed in it, but I didn't know if anyone else would. And then TikTok kind of gave it like a platform to grow on its own, which was really cool. Yeah.
And is your label pushing you to constantly put out content and try to get those hits? I mean, they look at those numbers like, hey, this is a goal that we want you to continue to exceed.
What's so funny is I think TikTok like came in and just like took over the music industry that even the labels have no clue what's going on. Like, you talk to anyone in music and we're all just kind of like, does anybody know what a hit is anymore? Does anybody know what type of music we should be making, how we should be marketing it? Because I feel like the music industry is now very democratic, which I think is amazing, because the people, like the fans, get to decide what they want to listen to. But It also makes it really stressful for labels and artists, all or signed or not signed. Like, we just don't really know how to promote stuff right now. So I think for me, I just am like trying to post as much as I can and see if anything hits, because I really do think like there's no way to tell anymore, which is cool. I think it's cool. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's what's so weird about TikTok is how many followers you have on TikTok, like over 1 million, or what's your number at?
I have 1 million, but lately it's been going back down to like 999,000. So it goes back and forth, which is very stressful for me.
Does that stress you out? You're like, no, I was platinum. Now I'm gold.
I'm like, what is this? This downgrade? But no,
and it's crazy too, because even though you have 1 million followers, doesn't mean 1 million people are going to see your videos every time you post it. And that's what's very strange. But at the same time, you could have 100 followers and get 1 million people to see your video. It's just how it catches with the algorithm, which are all odd, and try to figure it out. But the content, just to be a constant content machine, is I think the key to continue to keep your followers up and keep them entertained and engaged and reach new fans. And you've been doing that fantastically with all different types of TikTok videos. And I think one that I see that you do more so and better than anyone else is take viral clips of people talking and then singing too. And doing like the split screen. What made you come up with that idea? And I think initially, was it Lizzo who retweeted that and blew that up?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was during COVID, and I was like, what is TikTok? I guess I should get on this app. Everyone's on it. And then got on it, quickly became obsessed, and was just like scrolling and found some funny video that me and my friends would like quote all the time and like joke around. And then because we quoted it so much, I started singing it. And then I was like, wait, that's kind of a good idea. I'm gonna like duet these, turn them into songs. And then from then it just kind of became like the only thing that would do well on my TikTok. And then Lizzo, I did one of Lizzo, which then like she pushed on her end too, which was cool and like helped me a lot. But like, I think that's what's funny about TikTok is like, those are what do well for me on TikTok. And like, then that's what get people to listen to my music. So I feel like it can all happen like anyway now, which is really cool.
Right. And I just wouldn't resent it. It's all roads lead to Rome, whatever gets them to pay attention and be like, what about this? As long as you get their attention, if they go down that rabbit hole, then that's enough to hook them. And I think it's fantastic. So let there be a lesson to all you aspiring musicians out there. You got to utilize social media the best you can to get people's attention. And then hopefully your product will back it up and make them a fan. We got to hit a reset here on the FM side. We're going to keep the conversation moving, get ready for a live in Zoomio performance from Upsahl on the podcast broadcast. And we'll wrap things up with your beep tip next on Rock 102.1 KFMA. Clear. All right. Yes. So here's what we got to do. I'm going to let you grab whatever you're going to do with like a guitar, make sure it's tuned and everything. I want to play this video that you posted here building up Monica Lewinsky layer by layer. And this also showcases Taylor's ability to be a multi-instrumentalist. And when you see her live, not only is she singing, she's playing guitar, she's playing bass guitar, she'll jump on the drums, she plays piano. Like, I mean, there really is an instrument that you don't know how to play in some way, right?
I think piano is my main instrument, and I like know my way around a guitar enough to play it live. But like, yeah, piano's the one I actually feel comfortable on for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a fantastic pianist, but we're gonna show you how she basically builds up the song by herself. Here's and you know what? Shout out to Max Frost, because it gives me Max Frost vibes.
Totally.
You know?
He knows that too. I was like, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. And he was like, go off. All right, cool.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a very like exclusive class that you guys are involved in. And you know, I like that crew, that tag team of Upsahl and Max Frost. So here is Upsahl breaking down Monica Lewinsky for you. Check it out.
Monica Lewinsky is stripped down. Let's go. Drop a tape and the raise me, Miley made me. Pull some psycho on the daily. I'll make you love me till you hate me. Cause baby, lately I wanna make history. Yeah, something like Monica Lewinsky. So cute. Oh really, that stone cold hardcore feeling. Apologetic with a fucked up mind. Like it's lady, like woo. Yeah, I wanna make history. Like Monica, like Monica, like Monica, like Monica, like Monica. I just wanna make, yeah, I just wanna make.
I hate to cut that short. I had to cut that short for the sake of time.
Cute.
Real quick, here's the face of a proud father. Real quick on the stream.
Oh, it's here.
That's right. That's proud father fit look right there. I had to show that. All right, let's get into a live in studio performance, so to speak, and then we'll be on the air. So part of it will be on the air. So try to censor yourself a little bit. Then we'll do tip, and then if you're down to do a bonus performance right after my FM side show ends, it'll be fantastic. Okay,
let's do it. Yes, so down.
See, I said we're going old school, and
we're going old school. I love it. Okay, so this is on air, so I will censor this, right?
Yes.
Sorry, we'll double check.
Yeah, no,
But I literally joined and cussed within like 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna let it happen again. Okay.
No, it's because you feel comfortable with me, and I appreciate that. That's a compliment. So you've heard me talk off air since you were 13. I don't think I ever censored myself. So it fucking happens. What's the name of the song you're gonna perform for us, Taylor?
This is called Antsy. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm very excited because it's like a ballad vibe. It's kind of like the stuff I used to do when I was in high school. So yeah.
Nice. All right, we got an exclusive new music here. Upsahl performing on the podcast broadcast. Take it away.
Cool. I went to the doctor, asked him for pills. He told me to try just simply breathing. My stomach's in knots and I'm physically ill, but I'm sure it's not what I've been taking. The world is on fire, I'm so tired and equally wired. So am I to blame for my sick, frantic brain when toxic things taste just like candy? Lost touch with my friends, but the internet still understands me. No wonder I'm antsy. I bet what I need is to stare at a wall. Then one little text turns into a bender. Did I say too much or nothing at all? Now I'm inventing the damage in bathroom floor panics. Am I to blame for my sick, frantic brain when toxic things taste just like candy? And love might be there, but I'm scared of what it might demand of me. No wonder I'm antsy. The world is on fire. I'm so tired. Yeah, it's no wonder I'm antsy. And he said I love you. I said no thank you. Got too many issues and to-dos and nothings to get to. So am I to blame for my sick, frantic brain when toxic things taste just like candy? And I'd run back home except politics broke up my family. No wonder I'm antsy. Cool.
Yeah, that's Upsahl on Rock 102.1 KFMA. You just heard the tail end of a brand new song that she's going to release on the EP. The performance is live on the podcast broadcast, which we're going to have a bonus performance here in just a few minutes when we wrap off the air. And we normally don't do that. We normally, wrap up the show and then we're done. But I do want to go overtime and just do one more song before we say goodbye to everybody. But it's 9:58. I want to leave you with your beef tip. I've been talking to Upsahl all morning long. Watching her grow up and grow into the artist that she's become, it makes me immensely proud. And, with her being in entertainment, I feel like a kindred spirit with that. We know many entertainers who all have a passion to create and to entertain, and in an industry that's never easy. It's always constant obstacles. So my beef tip to you, if you have a dream, all right, the only way to fail at that dream is to quit. Right? If you keep persisting, you keep trying, you keep going after it, you're always going to succeed as long as you don't throw in the towel. So if you believe in something and you dream it to be it, the only way that you're going to fail is when you say, no more, I'm done. So never quit. Always, follow through and bet on yourself. And that's essentially my beef tip today. You can follow Upsahl on Spotify. Like she said, she got 3 million monthly listeners. You could add to that. She has a brand new live album that she just released. There's a new EP coming in a couple weeks. And this girl is dropping content and new songs like every other day.
Amazing.
Collaborating with some of your favorite artists. So, Tay, I appreciate you coming on the podcast broadcast. And it's been a long time coming.
This was so fun. Thanks, Pete.
Always, Continued success. I'm so proud of you and can't say enough. I'm going to play my outro song and then we're going to get into one more live musical performance from Taylorupsahl. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget, tomorrow morning I'll continue to give away tickets for Ghost and some other stuff I forgot. Till then, drive safe, ride safe, and as always, rock local. Later.
Nailed
it. Wish upon a side of beef. Soon will come
Watch, I
and
got
end
sweet.
to
Watch.
all your grief. But if you've been mean or kind of bad, I will knock out all your teeth.
There, see? My outro song and the whole night.
I love it. That was incredible. That was so good. I love
Going old school.
That's amazing. That's so good.
Don't be crying on me, Tay.
I know. This is such a fun little day. I'm like living for this morning. This is so fun.
My girlfriend was already texting me because she's listening earlier. She's like, "Oh my God, she's already on my Spotify mix list. We're listening to this at home. We're gonna jam out." Yeah, and same thing. Like normally, your genre of music's not one that I would follow, but like I do remember the drugs thing on TikTok and like being like, "Yeah, it's a banger. This is really good." But like now that I'm like hearing more and like hearing your story, like I've already followed you on Spotify as well. Like you're dope, girl.
Real deal.
You, dude. Appreciate it.
Real deal. And a lot of credit goes to the man that's on the stream as well, the entire family, because she's third, fourth generation musician. Mike, how many generations in?
Fourth, maybe fifth. Yeah, fourth generation for sure.
We run deep. Yeah.
And there's pictures of Taylor playing the guitar as young as like 3 years old. When did she start actually playing chords, Mike?
I'd say probably right around 4 or 5.
Yeah. And then by the time she's 13, she's writing beautiful songs that, like I said in the show open, I played blindly for the audience and didn't give them any backstory to try to get a real idea of what people thought of the song, and they loved it. And then I dropped the bombshell that she was 13 years old and from Glendale, and then it was game over,
Yeah.
So on the radio, it was you're like you said something like, "Hey Mike, I know you're listening. I'm sure you're bawling your eyes out." Some shit like that.
That morning. It was so cool.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment for all of us that we shared that. And it was amazing. And I love telling that story too, because it never changes. I mean, because it was the same thing. I'll remember like it was yesterday. I'm like, yeah, okay, she's going to be great. Like, whatever. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, you're right. Jesus.
Shit. Seeing the sentimental side of you today has been really lovely. Can I just say that? Oh, yes, I will.
Don't get used to it. It's all
I'm
dick
not going
pics
to get
and
used to it. I'm
talking
just
about
saying that this
sex.
is a nice treat.
Yes.
And then we'll get back to the dick and fart jokes tomorrow. It'll be fine.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you popping on the stream, buddy. We're going to take it away with Tay giving us one last performance before we wrap things up. So I'll talk to you here soon. And as always, everyone who thanked or watched the stream, thank you so much. And if you're watching for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. What's the name of the song that you're gonna take us out with?
This is called Arizona. It's about being from Arizona.
Love this. Okay, I love this fucking anthem. And again, a lot of the swagger, and I consider it like gangster. Like people don't realize this. And the way you grew up, it's not like you were just like a wannabe or nothing, but you're still West Side to the core. We're West Siders, right? Mike's a West Sider. The guy. Captain Bill's is the name of the sub shop that your mom owns. That's a West Side staple. You're West Side through and through. So to be able to have this kind of swagger and don't fuck with me vibe without saying don't fuck with me is very West Side Arizona. I think you're representing very well with bangers like this.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. You're making us all proud. So yes, let's take us out with the anthem, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, one last time, this is Upsahl.
Let's get it. This is Arizona. Let's go. Also, shout out to my dad for joining. He's an absolute legend and like the reason I'm in music. And this is just so special. Like, that obviously, but this is so cute that you're here today. Because this dude is like the OG, like called beef to be like, yo, play my daughter's song. Like, see what's good. Like this dude was like booking me shows, taking my ass to New York to go meet with my managers, like helping me move to LA. Like absolute
the whole
legend.
thing. Yes, yeah, the number one thing. The like major supporter and stuff, and your mom for being like, yeah, go ahead, take her to New York, do the thing. And I mean, even his background, it looks like a rock star's background. Right. So I could be
rock star
just as well. I mean, his background's more rock star than your background.
I know, mine's lame. I know. I need to level it up. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks. This is since we're getting sentimental, y'all. You know?
Yes. All right, let's take it away. Yes.
All right,
Mike
this
is
is
the man.
Arizona. Let's
All right, here we
go.
go.
Cool. Must be nice to be a guy, a vulture in a suit and tie, making lives without a consequence. I bet he'd make a real good president. Used to wanna be the type, but now I think I'd rather die. And boy, you're just another pretty face. Let me put you into second place. Not gonna take it in the backseat anymore. Put on your lipstick, let me show you how this works. Hi, this is who I am, a girl from Arizona with a bottle in my hand. Trying not to give a fuck if no one understands. So hard not to give a fuck if no one understands. And I tried to stick it to the man. They told me I'm impossible, but baby, that's my brand. So hard not to give a fuck if no one understands. Trying not to give a fuck cause no one understands. Let me get this straight, you want the world up on your plate. Get off on telling people what you think that they should say. But see, I think you got me wrong, I don't know how to play along. Over all this playing nice, I'd rather be just playing God. Not gonna take it in the backseat anymore. So put on your lipstick, let me show you how this works. Hi, this is who I am, a girl from Arizona with a bottle in my hand. Trying not to give a fuck if no one understands. So hard not to give a fuck cause no one understands. And I try to stick it to the man. I'm impossible, but baby, that's my brand. Try not to give a if no one understands. Try not to give a fuck if no one understands. La, da, 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 da. Hi, this is who I am, a girl from Arizona with a bottle in my hand. Trying not to give a fuck if no one understands. I don't have a dick, but you can suck my master plan.
Fucking gangster. That's